you're gonna f up. You're gonna make mistakes. Let's face it.
Yeah.
It's something that we both done, and it's a good way to get into the investing game with a limited liability. My wife would give me shit. She's like, "Why are you doing that?" We're in Jamestown in the basement of this like condo complex townhouse, and we're doing the deal. As long as it's a good collaborative partnership, you can energize each other. Steve and Mike here with Zalunardo Associates. We're going to talk about joint venturing. It's something that we both done, and it's a good way to get into the investing game with a limited liability into investing, so where you're not 100% obligated to pay a debt if something were to come up, and it's a good way to get in. Mike, how was your JV experiences?
It was good. It was good. So like my first, that's how I got into real estate, to be honest.
Yeah.
My first property, I think it was like 2013. Literally, it was hilarious. Like timing's amazing. I had a little bit of debt, paid off that debt. Like the next week, these guys approached me. We're gonna do a joint venture. I'm like, what is this thing? So we basically did it properly. We bought a triplex in Toronto. Dufferin and St. Clair area, and it was fantastic. It was four guys. We worked together, and basically I didn't know anything about it, so we had a lawyer explain what the process was. We had a full joint venture agreement, so we became tenants in common on the property.
So what that means, tenants in common, is if something were to happen to one of the partners, like someone dies, all his assets or her assets would go to their family rather than split between the partnership. Because joint tenancies, if you're married and you and you trust your spouse, you're going to do joint tenancy where you pass away, everything passes on to the next of kin, rather.
Exactly. So through our agreement, basically, it outlined, and all done by the lawyer, it outlined what we're all responsible for. Obviously, we're all responsible together. But it was kind of good that we laid everything on the line and said everything has to be paid a quarter. So any renovation we did, we all paid a quarter of it accordingly. Ultimately, these guys were a little bit further ahead of me at that time. So I was in there for like maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
We ended up finding a partner to buy me out, just because I wanted to go purchase my own, and we moved on from there. But yeah, that was my experience.
Did you profit? Did you make some money?
It wasn't a ton of money. Like it was like 2013, 2014. So I definitely made money. We put renovation into the property, brought up the rents big time. It was a triplex. For me at that time, I wasn't even looking at the dollars and cents.
Just want to get involved.
I wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
I just wanted. It was. You know what? I didn't have. I wasn't like in there by myself trying to figure it out. I was like, these guys all had properties. They all had experience. So I learned from them, which gave me the power and the know-how to go do my own. Then I did my own flips. I did my own duplex. Even like we were looking into building, so like it kind of opened my horizon. And yeah, I didn't make a ton of money because the market didn't go crazy, but whatever, we made some money.
Yeah. And
then when the market went nuts, we were able to make that money for ourselves, which ultimately I think still splitting up learning. That's another whole experience. I think had I split it up and had a couple more baskets instead of putting everything into my own basket, which we made phenomenal money. I think it would have had more profits. And
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I like what you said, and I came from the same place. So we came from blue collar lifestyle. Parents never did investing. Everything was new, but I knew I had to break ground. And I bought my first property. I was like 21 or 22 years old. Joint ventured with a buddy Albert of mine, went to high school with. I actually grew up in Malton with. We were like best friends forever. So somebody I trusted really well. And literally, we bought like a townhouse, and it was on an idea that I talked to somebody that was already doing off-campus residence back then. It was like 2002, 2003.
Okay.
So it was like, I talked to some guy, he's doing these off-campus residents. I'm like, fuck, he's doing it, I can do it myself. So talked to Albert always listens to me. Hey buddy, like this is what we're gonna do. It's like, yeah, I got some money. So we put our money together. We went, and randomly, I just started looking at like places nearby Humber College Boulevard.
Yeah.
And then we called a realtor off the sign, and then we ended up doing a deal like the same weekend. Like,
wow.
And this is after I read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
So Robert Kiyosaki. So then literally, I remember we were in the basement of this And again, it wasn't the best community. It was in Jamestown. Like, I had no idea. I'm a Woodbridge kid. I never went like south of Highway 7. I think I rode a bus like once in my life. It's like, that's how deprived I am with urban living. But we're in Jamestown, in the basement of this like condo complex townhouse, and we're doing the deal. And we ended up doing it, and it was good. It was good lesson learned, because it was nice that I had a partner there. So even though he was like my soundboard, I would say, like, even though if he had nothing in order to like respond to it, it was just good that I was talking to somebody.
100%. Oh, you're right. Take those thoughts out of your
100%.
Put it on the table.
And technically, everything we've done up to now has been JV'd, to be honest, because it was like, yeah, you can buy 5-6 properties, you have a piece of everything, you keep it going. And to be honest, every property that I bought, even up to now, we sold them, I basically did all the management to it. So partners got an easy ride with me. They bought with me, and then ultimately I managed it right to the end. So they never got a call, they never knew anything. All I knew was money was getting deposited and everything was working well. And you know, my wife would give me shit. She's like, "Why are you doing that? Like, you know, you're not, you know, everyone's doing."
There's no extra benefit.
Yeah, it's like, why? I said, but see, what you don't understand is like you can't get this education from nobody. So it's basically people invested in something I'm going to profit from, but I'm also, look at the education. Now I can manage properties. I understand manage people, manage the corporations, the accounts, like everything, that whole wealth of knowledge based on someone invested in me and my thought that paid me back. So I think people get, and that's why I like what you said. It's like, I know I just had to get involved. Like, I don't give a shit. It was like, if it was $1 or $1 million, because you getting in there, you were gonna come out a beast, which you did. You did all your investments, and you know,
to be honest, I even maybe become an agent to a certain degree. Like, the first offer we put in, we lost. I'll never forget sitting, like, I think it was Remax, like Premier's office, and I'm sitting there, and we're like,
Which one? The one in Steeles, the OG one?
There's one on Wilson, right? Is there a Premier?
Oh, I don't know.
Jane Wilson.
Maybe, okay.
So I just remember sitting in the office, and we're doing, like, back in the day, it was like not DocuSign. It was like you had to be there.
Yeah.
Everyone had to be there. You missed the initial, you had to run back.
Highlighted with a highlighter for the sign.
Exactly. So I'm like shitting my pants. I'm like, what was I, 23, 24? I'm listening to these guys. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I almost don't even want to get the property, like, because I'm so stressed at this point. I'm like, just give it to that guy. Like,
yeah.
And it was obviously the best. We lost that first one, but then after it gave me like the confidence and to see the experience of like, or the process of how things got done, like, I calmed down, and obviously it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I kind of like working these deals, you know, and going back and forth. So it opened my eyes, and from a construction side, the investing, being a realtor. It was obviously, I didn't make a ton of money. I still made probably like, I still made like 15%, but which was actually good for the time. But it was like the experience that you can't, like you said with your wife, you can't go to school and do this. Like, like same book, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like, it just opens your eyes, right? Like,
just layman's terms, you know. And this is like now with so what we're doing, like in the going forward, even with development and stuff like that, like, there's always, again, I don't know if we're going to see how that all works out, but it's, even to have a partner on that, it's also good too, because you're going forward and you're bouncing things off each other. Because what happens with, and again, I don't have a big capacity to handle, I handle a million things, never mind, but I kind of look at like people like CEOs of like big corporations, stuff like that, like how much are they managing at a time, which is crazy. I mean, I'm trying to build that tolerance level, because what happens is if you're dealing with so many things, let's say, especially in a development, you're building now, and you're building, you got all this shit, you're dealing with the trades, and you're dealing with, the city, you're dealing with all this stuff, and you're still dealing with like 3 or 4 other businesses, you're gonna fuck up. You're gonna make mistakes. Let's face it.
Yeah, because you can't give 100% attention to everything.
You're gonna come in like a bull.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be a sheep like, please make it end. So if you had a partner during that, you can kind of like, hey, let's bounce ideas. You sort of re-energize yourself. As long as it's a good collaborative partnership, you can energize each other. Maybe say, you know what, we're fucking stressed. I'm swearing a lot on this one. But if you're stressed, you can say, hey, let's just go out and let's go for dinner, let's have a drink, whatever. Let's just kind of get our mind off of things. We'll talk it over. And as you're relaxing, this is when all your best thoughts will start processing, right? So I think that's important. And that's also JV, because if there's something going wrong, I know when we unloaded our properties now, like prior to the bust here, was partner, we can kind of communicate going through how to push things. Even though if it was just a soundboard where you did all the talking, but there was someone listening, it was very important to go through. Yeah.
No, and it's good to have someone, especially if you're on the same level where you bounce them back and forth. You guys are moving forward together, right?
Yeah.
You're not just like, I know with myself too. I've been in that situation. It's like, I've never seen this before. I don't know. I never dealt with this situation. It's like I'm thinking about it myself, and it's like you don't know which way to go, right? You have one guy just to like cut those thoughts in half and pick between these two options. Go. It's gonna cut time in half. It's gonna cut efficiency. Like I think that's
100%.
I think that's the biggest thing.
It's the biggest thing, yeah, time. And this is now looking at what's happening in Florida now with the real estate office and stuff like that, and obviously back here. My career has always been, me and Elisa the whole time, right? Like, so I do all the sales, and then it's like Elisa doing all the spearheading the business, making sure everything's managed. But now, you coming on board, which is awesome. And it's for me, this is huge growth because I'm not used to this. So having a collaborative relationship with you, we want to run this business, we want to build it. And then it's also in Florida, having, Janet as the managing broker, and not always trying to be focused on that one cup full of coffee. I want to have pods. I want to have all those coffee pods ready to, you know what I mean? I think it's good. It's good growth, and it's exciting for me because it's like any information I kind of gather from the journeys, because it's always first-hand experience, I pass it down, to people around me, or if it's family. It is what it is. So it's good. The next journey is going to be very exciting, and this is where we take off, where it's just like there's going to be an octopus, an arm into everything, because the capacity is there, and also it's the confidence as a person. It's not like you're scared anymore, right? You're just like, hey,
and you're almost like at a point where you need maybe a little bit more of a different challenge, a new challenge, but like you have that confidence to do the development, do the what's it called, property management, right? So I think it's gonna be good. It's
gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. So we will be growing to Toronto in the Florida business. Hopefully we can get Mike to Florida at some point. And that's it.
Thanks guys for watching, Steve and myself, and we look forward to seeing you guys watch next time.